Bonjour, hello, Ani. Simon and I would like to acknowledge that we are standing on the traditional territory of the Algonquin First Nation. We would also like to acknowledge that this land has strong Métis Nation heritage. And we would also like to acknowledge that the word Ottawa, ou Ottawa en français, is the word Odawa, which is one of the three Fires Confederacy nations in the Anishinaabe Nation. I'd like to introduce my running mate, Simon Gnocchi-Messier.
Merci, Sarah. Bonjour tout le monde. Alors, en tant que Verts, nous devons défendre sans discrimination le droit de toute personne à un environnement propice à leur dignité, à leur santé physique et à leur bien-être spirituel. Au Canada et dans le monde entier, nous encourageons des relations respectueuses, positives et responsables au-delà des divisions, et ce dans l'esprit de nos sociétés multiculturelles. Notre histoire au Canada n'a pas toujours reflété ces nobles objectifs. Trop souvent, nous avons été témoins d'un manque de respect envers les personnes dont l'identité de genre ou l'orientation sexuelle ne coïncidait pas avec celle de la majorité des citoyens. Bien qu'aujourd'hui l'acceptation d'une orientation sexuelle autre que l'autosexualité soit à un niveau jamais atteint auparavant, le choix et le droit de nos concitoyens de s'identifier à un genre autre que celui avec lequel ils sont nés ne sont pas toujours respectés au même degré. C'est encore plus le cas pour les personnes transgenres. Nous devons confronter et dénoncer la transphobie où et quand elle apparaît. Le Parti vert du Canada est fier d'être à l'avant-garde du respect et de la responsabilisation de nos concitoyens transgenres, et nous sommes particulièrement fiers d'être le premier parti politique au Canada à avoir nommé une personne transgenre, le Dr Amita Kuttner, à un poste de direction. Ainsi, nous trouvons regrettable que le Dr Kuttner, notre chef de parti intérimaire, nous a informé d'avoir été soumis à des incidents de comportement transphobe au sein du parti. Cependant, nous avons pleinement confiance en notre présidente de parti, Mme Lauren Reckman, et les membres de notre Conseil fédéral pour enquêter et ensuite mettre en place des mesures qui permettront d'éliminer ces comportements inacceptables. Dans un Canada moderne, nous ne devons jamais nous traiter les uns les autres en fonction de qui nous aimons, de comment nous aimons ou de la façon dont nous percevons notre sexe ou celui des autres. La peur de l'autre, qui est ancrée dans certains Canadiens depuis longtemps, doit être balayée par un engagement commun envers le respect et l'équité. Merci. À vous, Sarah.
Merci. Respect for diversity is one of the 6 key principles of the Green Party of Canada. Respect for diversity is one of the 6 key principles of the Global Greens Charter. We are a global movement. Without respect for diversity, we are not green. Nonviolence and participatory democracy are also key principles. Nonviolence requires that we act in peaceful ways to protect our common interests. Participatory democracy requires transparency so that citizens can make informed decisions on issues that directly affect their lives. This has been a difficult weekend for many Greens across the country, including both myself and our interim leader, Dr. Amita Kuttner. At our party's launch event on Saturday, via Zoom, the wrong pronouns were used beside Dr. Kuttner's name. While to many that might not seem like a big deal, to Canada's first transgender leader of a major political party, it is a big deal. To Dr. Kuttner's supporters, it is a big deal. On behalf of my campaign and the members of the Green Party of Canada, I wish to extend Dr. Kuttner a sincere extension of apology, recognition, and solidarity. While, as far as the party is aware, this was an honest mistake, to Dr. Kuttner, it likely does not feel that way. Dr. Kuttner is not alone in feeling a constant onslaught of aggressions and microaggressions. Lorraine Reckmans is the first Indigenous woman as president of a major political party. Crystal Brooks is an Indigenous federal councillor, candidate in Southern Ontario, and outspoken advocate for sexual assault survivor rights. Both of these amazing Green women are advocates for our party's Indigenous Peoples Advisory Circle. I have real faith that with IPAC's leadership, we Greens will grow away from investigative, punitive systems towards a more restorative, healing circle style of inter-member conflict resolution. Other Green organizers on our Justice, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee are working hard to get the studies done and the infrastructure in place so that Greens from equity-seeking groups feel seen, heard, and responded to. Complaints like Dr. Kuttner's from Saturday's event must be attended to in a timely, safe, caring manner, in-house, like any professional organization in the year 2022. The Green Party of Canada needs an infrastructure that provides real solidarity and sees real results. As leader, it's my promise to members, but particularly equity-seeking members, that we will have this infrastructure in place within the first month of my leadership. Folks, let me be clear. Transphobia and homophobia has no place in Canadian politics, no place in Canadian political parties, including the Green Party of Canada. Hatred towards political candidates and elected officials has been on the rise in this country for too long. Pierre Poilievre, Erin O'Toole, Candice Bergen, and their Conservative cohort have let the cries for violence against political candidates and elected officials spiral out of control. Not in my Canada. Not with the Greens. Unfortunately, after this incident unfolded on Saturday, the 6 candidates who were running for leadership, including myself, engaged in a number of email threads, which I regret became public over the past 24 hours. In these emails, it is clear that Dr. Kuttner is hurt. Many of my opponents felt the need to find a scapegoat or a head on a stick. I believe Greens should live up to our values of being above petty politics. While Elizabeth May and Jonathan Pedno felt compelled to use the national stage to call for an independent investigation, I was not comfortable signing our party up to that pathway. After speaking with other key actors in our party, including an uninformed president, a terrified volunteer and staff base, and my own team, I decided not to agree to the press release the other candidates were crafting. I'm not one to acquiesce to pressure, especially when the stakes are high and teammates are uninformed and afraid. In closing, I would like to highlight 3 important policies that Dr. Kuttner proposed in 2020 and 2021, which Green members overwhelmingly supported and which I champion in my platform. Reform of the RCMP. We need an independent oversight body with real jurisdiction over the RCMP. The actions of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police against Indigenous and non-Indigenous land defenders must not go unanswered. Support for the Wet'suwet'en. The traditional leadership of the Wet'suwet'en First Nation is desperately trying to stop the LNG pipeline from ripping up their vital hunting and fishing grounds. Stop ecocide. Recognition of ecocide in our justice system is the essence of what it means to be green. We must learn to live in harmony with nature, or our children suffer the consequences. Young people are suing Doug Ford's government for ecocide. And I will be at their rally this Saturday to show support. But I can only officially do this as a Green thanks to Dr. Kuttner's leadership in creating this policy and our Green collective that voted it in. Myself and the Canadian Green family owe Dr. Kuttner a debt of gratitude that will last for decades.
We'll now start the question period. Nous allons maintenant commencer la période de questions. I invite the reporters on Zoom to use the raise hand function if you have a question. We'll start with David Thurton, CBC.
I just wanted to ask the two of you. You know, there's been a lot of discussion on Twitter and also from Kuttner herself, about what happened and who's responsible. You both were there.
I think we lost you, David.
David, it seems that you're still connected, but we can't quite hear you.
Hello?
Yes, you're back.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, let me just go to maybe a quieter location. Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to, there's been a lot of back and forth about what happened on Saturday, including from a number of people. Who is responsible to what happened to Kuttner on Saturday? Can you clarify that?
Yeah. As a future leader, we hope, for the Green Party of Canada, I intend to protect our staff and volunteers. This matter is being dealt with internally. And as you can see from Dr. Kuttner's official statement, that they do feel that this is being dealt with in a good way.
But it's not clear to me, Sarah, as to who is responsible for not using the right pronouns here. So do you know who is responsible, who might have said the wrong thing, who might have written the wrong thing? Is that clear in your mind? Is that not clear?
I can guarantee you, David, that it was an honest mistake. That does not excuse other aggressions and microaggressions that Dr. Kuttner has experienced in their tenure as interim leader.
Are there any other? Oh, we'll get back to you, David, if you have any other questions. Is there any other questions on Zoom? If so, please use the raise hand function. David, do you have another follow-up?
Yes, on a different topic. It's in reference to both the appearance of you, Sarah, and Simone at this press conference together. There are two other slates in this race. To my knowledge, both of you are running individually. Is there any plan to maybe join forces in the same way that you're joining forces at this news conference to run together and propose a co-leadership model among the two, between you?
Well, I've just met Simon today. He's a very intelligent and well-spoken individual and a Green to the core. However, our Constitution is clear. And if Greens can't follow our own Constitution, then we have no business asking Canadians to put their faith in us. I am true to our Constitution, which says that there is one leader, members choose one leader, and from there, the leader appoints two deputy leaders.
And Simone, what do you say?
I share the same point of view than Sarah. That matter was brought to the last General Assembly, and the members decided to put it aside, and so there was no vote on it, and here we are today with two couple of contendants who wants to run as one leader. I think we are putting in French we say la charrue en avant des bœufs. So I think it will be to the members to decide at our next General Council. And so I share the same point of view than Sarah on that, David.
Okay, and just coming back to what happened to interim leader Kuttner, what tells you that what happened to them was a mistake? Because I believe that's what you said, Sarah, that this was a mistake. What tells you that this was a mistake?
I think, David, that we should probably wait on that for a formal statement from our president and the party in general.
But you're saying it's a mistake. So I mean, you come to that conclusion.
So David, you do have the email thread. I'm sorry that this has become an internal party matter, and I'm not going to share all of that with you right now. But as you can see from Dr. Kuttner's statement, that they do feel like this is now being dealt with in a good way, which I support 100%.
Et je peux ajouter, David, que en effet, à partir des informations qu'on possède, on peut poser l'hypothèse que c'était une erreur, mais le parti et la présidente et le Conseil fédéral vont prendre les démarches nécessaires pour enquêter sur la situation et puis ils pourront arriver à la conclusion par la suite là, qui sera celle qui suivra l'enquête. Mais pour l'instant, donc, de ce que nous, on peut percevoir à partir de notre perception de cette réalité-là, ben, ça apparaissait comme une erreur. Maintenant, ça sera, là, comme je l'ai dit, à la présidente puis au Conseil fédéral d'aller au bout de cette histoire et de voir qu'est-ce qu'il en est.
Is there any other question on Zoom? Please the raise hand function. We'll wait a few more seconds. Doesn't seem that there is any other questions, so this concludes the press conference. Thank you.
Merci bien.
Merci.